Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Ben here, and today I'm going to be starting the first part of a series that'll have a few parts to it, and it's basically going to be on my preview of the upcoming NBA season, the 2018 to 2019 NBA season. I'm going to go through each conference. I'm going to break it down into two parts for each conference. I'm going to do a part where I talk about the lottery teams, and then a part where I talk about the playoff teams. I'm going to do that for each conference. I'm going to cover the two lottery sections first, and then the two playoff sections. And then the last part of this series is going to be a fifth and final video about my playoff predictions and breaking down both sides of the bracket, who I think will advance, who I think will win the NBA Finals, and all that stuff. And if you guys wanted to look back at my NBA predictions video for awards, that video was recently posted on my channel. It basically just talks about who I think will win awards like MVP, Rookie of the Year, stuff like that. And then I also go through all NBA first team through third team, the defensive teams, and the rookie teams. So if you're interested in those, check them out, and let's get into it. So first I'm going to do the Eastern Conference and the lottery teams, and so I'm going to go from descending order to ascending, so the worst team to the better teams. So first off, I'm going to start with the New York Knicks, who I have slotted in as the 15 seed, the worst seed in the conference. I believe that the Knicks will be the worst team in the NBA this season. The lone bright spot on the roster to me was Kristaps Porzingis, and he's going to be out at least until February, but I think that from what we're hearing, they might just keep him out the whole season just to ensure that he doesn't re-aggravate anything or worsen his condition from his torn ACL. I think that's the smart move to keep your best player healthy and not rush them back, which I think is what they will do, which basically leaves them with a core of Frank Ntilikina at point guard, Courtney Lee at shooting guard, Tim Hardaway Jr. at small forward, probably Lance Thomas at power forward starting, and then Enes Kanter at the center. And your main bench guys are going to be Kevin Knox, who was the rookie that they drafted, and probably Emmanuel Mudiay or Trey Burke. That's going to be like your three guys off the bench, probably with Kevin Knox getting the most significant play time. I'd hope for around 30 minutes a night for him, but we'll have to see. I don't know. I don't like this Knicks team at all. They have really no good players to me. Enes Kanter's good, but he's best when he's about the fourth offensive option on a team or third offensive option. And on this team, you could argue he's the first option, him or Tim Hardaway Jr. Frank Ntilikina didn't show us much in his rookie season. Hopefully he develops a little bit. But yeah, this team doesn't have much. Power forward's definitely the weak spot, having to start Lance Thomas. They're very poor in depth at that big man position. And so I expect them to be around a 18 to 20 win team overall. Next at 14, I have the Atlanta Hawks, who have a very poor team as well, but a slightly more interesting core with Trae Young coming into the mix. Their starting lineup should look something like Trae Young probably, I would hope, would start because they put a lot into getting him. And then Kent Bazemore, Taurean Prince, center Dwayne Dedmon. Power forward is kind of a spot that's undefined right now. They could slot Taurean Prince in there and then put another guard in the lineup and slide Kent Bazemore to small forward, but the basic core of the team is going to be those guys, with Jeremy Lin likely coming in off the bench as a sixth man. They could conceivably start Vince Carter. That would be a bad move to me. I think that Vince should probably be playing about 15 minutes a night, but they could do it. But overall, yeah, I don't expect this team to be good at all. Dwayne Dedmon's a 10-10 guy on a good night. Taurean Prince has 10 points on a good night. Jeremy Lin, if you get his best performances, he'll probably be giving you 15 points a night on 45% shooting. Trae Young, what I expect from him is around 18 points a night, probably about 40% shooting from the field, probably like 36% from three, 38%. I expect him to take a lot of shots, though. I bet he'll be around 16 shots a game, maybe 18 shots a game. We'll have to see. Yeah, Kent Bazemore, I think we've kind of seen his ceiling. It's around 13 points a game on mid 40% shooting from the field, a few assists and rebounds a game, but nothing spectacular. So with that being said, this core doesn't have a ton of bright spots. They just have a lot of like role players mixed in with Trae Young, and I don't really see them being all that good. I predict about 23 wins, 25 wins this season, optimistically. Okay, so the next team I have on here as the 13th seed is the Brooklyn Nets. Now, a lot of people might think that they should be a little bit higher, that they've improved, and that their players continue to work hard, and that they're a really a grinding team, and they'll work really hard to grind out some wins. And that being said, I agree, but at the same time, although it may sound weird that I'm saying the Eastern Conference is like a tough conference, it's not. It's just that working hard only gets you so far. You need some talent. They do have D'Angelo Russell, who I think will be good for about 17 points a night. Karis LeVert, who will probably be good for around 14 to 15. Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, maybe 11 to 12. DeMarre Carroll, about the same, 11 to 12. Jarrett Allen, I think, is going to be slated as the full-time starter, which I think will be interesting. I don't know. He did all right last year when he was sort of a surprise pick, but I don't know how he'll do as like the full-time guy. It remains to be seen how he'll do. So all that being said, I don't know. I don't see them being wonderful. Spencer Dinwiddie's excuse me. Spencer Dinwiddie is a good sixth man. I expect about 14 points a game from him. Hopefully they do a lot more lineups where they put him at the point guard and D'Angelo Russell at the 2, because I think that's when they're going to be most offensive threatening. Karis LeVert maybe at the 3, and then Hollis-Jefferson or Carroll at the 4, and Jarrett Allen at the 5. That would sort of be their death lineup, I'd say, their best possibilities on offense. But still, really outside of D'Angelo Russell, none of these other guys would start on any other team in the NBA, I don't think. It's not me being rude. I think it's just true. Maybe they'd start on the Knicks or the Hawks, but not a team better than them. Okay, so the next team I have at number 12 is the Orlando Magic. This is a team where I see the good in them. I see some potential. They have a lot of pretty talented players. Really, like last year, they started 9-4, and I was surprised by that, but I wasn't shocked by it. I'll say that. I expected them to be around a 38-win team last year, albeit they only won around, I think, less than 30. I think around 25 games last year. But I expected them to be a bit better than they were. You got some good pieces in Evan Fournier, Nikola Vucevic, Mo Bamba, Aaron Gordon. Jonathan Isaac is promising. I like Jonathan Simmons as a sixth man a lot. The real sore spot on this team is point guard. I was really hoping that they'd get their hands on Trae Young somehow, because although Mo Bamba is a promising young guy, I feel like they really needed more of a guard than a big man when they already have, going into this year, Mo Spates, Nikola Vucevic, Aaron Gordon, Bismack Biyombo. Oh, wait, no, they don't have Bismack Biyombo, excuse me. But it's just a crowded front court, and they don't necessarily need another big guy. And it's sort of like, well, why'd you draft Mo Bamba when all he's going to do is take minutes away from Vucevic? I'm not exactly sure. But he is talented. It will be interesting to see how they mesh those lineups. Aaron Gordon's going to have to play a lot more of the small forward than he has been, I think, just to fit all these guys on the court at the same time, which it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think he's more comfortable as a power forward. But I'll look for them to win around 33, 34 games this year. Not great, but a little bit better than last year. The next team I have on here as the 11th seed in the East is the Charlotte Hornets. Charlotte's in a weird predicament where they have a star player, or all-star level player, and they have a lot of good role players, but I just don't see it translating to a great team. They were a 46-win team in 2016, and they basically had the same core they do now, mix in a few role players who weren't there, and take out an aging Al Jefferson, which shouldn't matter that much because he wasn't playing all that much, but they basically have the same team, and it's mysterious why they haven't done well the past couple of years. Nicholas Batum hasn't played that well. That's a factor, but their basic starting lineup, I'll go through it. It's Kemba, I'm expecting Malik Monk to actually start this year. And then I'll say Nicholas Batum at the 3, at the 4, probably Marvin Williams, and at the 5, probably Cody Zeller. Main guys off the bench looking to be Tony Parker, Frank Kaminsky, and Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. I don't expect, or Jeremy Lamb as well. I don't expect huge things from Tony Parker. I expect him to play about 10 minutes a night, honestly. I think they signed him more to be a locker room presence than anything, which is fine by me. But really, this team didn't add anything, and they lost a really good center in Dwight Howard. A lot of people say he puts up empty stats, and although they look good, it doesn't mean much. That may be true, but he still is talented, and they basically lost him for nothing. So I don't expect him to improve at all. I think they've been 36 and 46 the last 2 seasons. I expect about that. I expect maybe around 35 to 36 wins this next year, which is all right, but not that great, really. Moving on to the 10 seed, Cleveland is who I have in this slot. I think they're a very interesting team without LeBron James. I think that more people will pay attention to them than we think. Not because they'll be great, just because people will want to see how another city reacts to the absence of LeBron James. You know, their starting lineup will likely look like George Hill, J.R. Smith. I'm guessing Rodney Hood will play the 3. They possibly could slide in Kyle Korver there too. And then at the 4, Kevin Love. At the 5, Tristan Thompson. Their main guys off the bench will be, well, let's say Korver starts. Their main guys off the bench will be Jordan Clarkson, Rodney Hood, and Larry Nance Jr., all the young guys that they acquired last year in trades. And I expect them to be around 38 wins, I'd say. Nothing spectacular. I don't expect them to fall on their face, though, like everyone thinks that they will. I've heard some people say without LeBron, they're going to be like an 18-win team, and I think that's preposterous when you have Kevin Love on the team, who's still an all-star in his prime. And when he was with the Timberwolves, they were never okay, they had some bad years, but when Kevin Love was the centerpiece and they had all right surrounding pieces, which I do think you could say about Cleveland, they have all right surrounding pieces. In Minnesota, they were a 40-win team. I'm expecting about 38 wins here, and that's all I really got for them. I don't know. I hope that Rodney Hood and Jordan Clarkson and Nance perform better than they did at the end last year, because basically all 3 of them were unplayable, and they just had to rely on the starting lineup and Kyle Korver off the bench. But hopefully they show some signs of improvement and integration better into the Cavs organization. And so the last team I have on here for the lottery for the Eastern Conference is the team I'm repping today. It is the Chicago Bulls, who I expect to be 40 and 42. You know, I don't expect them to make the playoffs. I don't think they have enough talent for that. I think they do have enough talent, but I don't think that their talent is ready. So their starting lineup is probably going to look something like, this is what I think at least: Chris Dunn, Zach LaVine, Jabari Parker, Lauri Markkanen, and Robin Lopez. Their main guys off the bench are likely going to be Justin Holiday, David Nwaba, and Bobby Portis. I like that lineup a lot. I think that every guy in the starting lineup is pretty talented in their own way. You might say, well, Robin Lopez, but he's good for about 10 and 10 a night, which I don't think is terrible by any means. It's pretty solid for an NBA player. Lauri Markkanen, I think, will continue his development. I expect about 17 points and 8 rebounds a night on good shooting. Jabari Parker's the big question mark. I think as a benchmark, they'd hope for about 16 points a night on good shooting, like 50% from the field. I think that what they really want is about 22 points a night on that same shooting percentage, but I think the floor that they would want is like 16 points a night. Zach LaVine, I think that they're hoping he can reproduce what he had been recently, like 17, 18 points a night with 5 and 5 as far as rebounds and assists. And then Chris Dunn, I think they want to take a step forward a little bit, probably average around 13 and 8. I don't think that that's unreasonable for him. I think that shooting will be the biggest concern as far as Chris Dunn goes. But we'll just have to see, because he's a bit of a question mark, I think, in that he improved, but it wasn't a drastic improvement last year. It was just marginal. I think that he can be a starting caliber point guard in the NBA, though. I honestly think I could see him on the level of like a Drew Holiday someday, which is kind of funny because his brother Justin Holiday's on this team. But yeah, I could see Chris Dunn transforming into a guy that on the regular averages 15 and 9 in a season or two here. But he just got to continue working and all that and continue to try and improve. But this is a team with a lot of young, talented guys. I like Bobby Portis a lot off the bench. He could be a candidate for sixth man, honestly. I could see him putting up 15 and 9 a night. Yeah, so this is a team where I don't think that they'll be great this year, but if Jabari sticks around, look them up in 2 years, and they might be a really up-and-coming team starting to look really solid and good. So that's it, guys. That's all the teams I have for the Eastern Conference lottery teams. Real quick recap. I'll go from 15 to 9 seed. I have Knicks, Hawks, Nets, Orlando, Charlotte, Cleveland, and then at the 9 seed, Chicago. So let me know in the comments what you think, if you agree or disagree. I'll be coming at you soon with the next part of this NBA season preview series, and hope you guys have a good day. Bye.